smell this? Are you very forgetful?
Forgetful? No. Not as far as I know.
Do you absolutely not want to talk about what happened up there?
Up at Lyson? Well, there's not much to talk about, I'd say.
How can you sit there and say that?
All right. You tell me about it then.
After the church tower was built, there was a big function in town.
Of course. I won't soon forget that.
Weren't you? How good of you.
Good.
There was music in the churchyard, and then hundreds and hundreds of people. We schoolgirls were all dressed in white, and we had flags, all of us.
Oh, yeah, the flags. I won't soon forget them, all right.
You climbed straight up the scaffolding, straight to the very top. You were carrying a great wreath with you, and you hung it high on the weather vane.
I did that in those days. It was a custom, an old custom.
It was so wonderfully thrilling to stand below and look up at you. Oh, what happens if he fell? He's a master builder himself.
That could happen too. Because there was one of those devils dressed in white who was carrying on and screaming up at me.
Hooray for Mr. Simon, the master builder!
And he just went on and flourishing the flag until my head started, it spun out of control, and
That little devil. That was me.
I'm sure of it now.
It was so wonderfully thrilling and lovely. I never dreamt that anywhere in the world there would be a builder that would build a tower so high. And then that you could stand there at the very top, high as life. And that you weren't the least bit dizzy. That's what made me almost dizzy to realize.
How could you be so sure I wasn't?
Oh, come on! I felt it within me.
Did you?
How else could you stand up there singing?
Singing? I sang?
Yes, you were.
I never sang a note in my life.
You were. It sounded like harps in the air.
Did it? Something peculiar about that. This. Huh. Harps.
Then afterwards came the real thing.
The real thing?
Now, I don't have to remind you of that, do I?
Oh, well, why don't you remind me a little bit, please? What?
Don't you remember the big banquet for you at the club?
Yeah, so then in the afternoon. I have to leave the next morning.
And that after the banquet was finished, you were invited back to our place for the evening.
Of course, Miss Wango. It's so amazing the way all these details are still so clear in your head.
Details.
Uh-huh.
I suppose you think it was just another detail that I was alone in the room when you came in?
Were you?
You didn't call me any little devil then. then.
Oh, I'm sure I did.
And you said I looked lovely in my white dress, and that I looked like a little princess.
Well, Miss Wangle, I'm sure you did.
And you also said that one day I would be your princess.
Well, when you're feeling so light and free. Did I say all that?
Yes, you did. You also said that you would come back for me. I asked you how long, and you said in 10 years you would carry me off like a troll to some place like Spain or something. And then you said that you would also build me a kingdom.
Well, after a good meal, one isn't counting one's pennies. But did I say all of that?
Yes, you did. You even said what the kingdom would be called.
Oh? What?
It was going to be called the Kingdom of Orangia, you said.
What a delightful name.
No,
No?
I didn't like it.
Why not?
It was as if you were out to make fun of me.
Oh, I'm sure I had no intention to.
No, it wouldn't seem so. Not after what happened next.
What on earth happened next?
Honestly, this is really the limit if I even have to remind you of that.
Why don't you give me a little tiny hint then, maybe? Huh?
You called me up and you kissed me, Mrs. Solness.
I did.
Yes, you put your arms around me, and you bent me back, and you kissed me many, many times.
Really, Michael?
Are you saying that you deny it?
I know you badly do deny it.
I see.
This way, go. All of this, as you said, you must have dreamed it up. Now listen. Don't just sit there like a statue. I know what it is. This is what happened. I must have thought this. I must have willed it or wished it to happen. Don't you see, that explains it. It was like in my mind. And for God's sake, Miss Winkle. So I really did do the thing.
Then you confess.
Yes. Whatever you please.
You bent me back over,
Yes.
and you kissed me
Yes.
many times.
As many times as you could ever want, Miss Winkle.
There, you see? I knew I wouldn't get it out of you in the end.
Imagine me forgetting a thing like that.
I'm sure you've kissed a few men in your time.
You mustn't think that of me, Miss Wynn. Miss Weigel, how was it? What happened next between us?
Nothing. You know that well enough. Everyone else came in. And
Oh, the others came in. Imagine me forgetting that too.
you haven't forgotten. Just a little shameful. Nobody forgets something like that.
No, I guess they wouldn't unless they were ashamed.
You've probably even forgotten what day it was.
What day?
But you put the wreath on the tower. Come on, quick, say it.
Well, it must have been like 10 years ago. It was, I don't remember the actual date, but it was sometime in the fall. I don't know.
Yes, it was 10 years ago. 19th of September.
Imagine you remembering something like that too. Wait a minute. Today is the 19th of September. Oh my goodness.
It is.
What do you want?
I want my kingdom, Mr. Thomas.
Is the time up?
Time's up. I want my kingdom.
Then you shall have it. You shall have it.